Dr. Lisa Martinez pressed her face against the window of the research ship. Stars filled the dark space around them, but one light grew bigger than the rest. That was their destination. After 3 months of travel, they were finally going to meet an alien race. Beautiful, isn't it? Captain Jake Sullivan stepped up beside her. His voice was calm, but Lisa could see excitement in his eyes. "I still can't believe we're really doing this," Lisa said. She was a scientist who studied alien life, but until now she had only worked with theories and computer models. This was real. The ship Aurora's Edge had been traveling toward the neutral meeting point called Haven Point. It was a space station built just for first contact meetings. No weapons were allowed there. Both humans and the aliens called Kitharans had agreed to meet there safely. Jake put his hand on Lisa's shoulder. "You're going to do great. The whole human race is counting on you." Lisa felt the warm pressure of his hand through her uniform. It was comforting. She had always been the type of person who liked hugs and friendly touches. Most humans were like that, she thought. "Captain, we're getting close to Haven Point," called Danny Brooks from his station. Danny was the ship's engineer, a young man with oil stains always on his hands and a smile on his face. "Good work, Danny," Jake said. He squeezed Lisa's shoulder once more before walking to his captain's chair. Lisa watched him go. She noticed how the crew members moved around each other. When Kate Williams, their pilot, passed Danny, she touched his arm briefly. When Dr. Sam Rodriguez walked by, he patted Jake on the back. These little touches happened all day, every day. Lisa had never really thought about it before. The space station came into view. It looked like a giant wheel spinning slowly in space. Lights blinked along its arms and ships were docked at various ports. "The Kitharans are already here," Kate announced from the pilot seat. "I can see their ship." Lisa felt her heart beat faster. Through the window, she could see a strange ship that looked like it was made of crystal. It caught the light from nearby stars and threw rainbows across space. "How do they even fly something like that?" Danny asked, whistling low. "We're about to find out," Jake said. "Lisa, are you ready?" Lisa nodded. She had studied everything they knew about the Kitharans, which wasn't much. They were tall, their bodies looked like living crystal, and they made musical sounds to talk to each other. Beyond that, everything was a mystery. The docking went smoothly. Lisa gathered her research equipment and walked with the team toward the meeting room. Dr. Rodriguez checked her one more time. "Your heart rate is a bit high, but that's normal," Sam said. He was an older man with kind eyes behind his glasses. "Try to stay calm. Remember, they asked to meet us too. They're probably just as nervous," Lisa laughed. "Do crystal beings even get nervous?" "We're about to find out," Jake said again. The meeting room was large and bright. Human technology mixed with unknown alien designs. The air felt different, charged with electricity. Then the door on the far side opened. The Kitharans entered the room like living songs. They were tall, much taller than humans, and their bodies were made of what looked like clear crystal with colored lights moving inside. When they moved, they made soft ringing sounds like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Lisa stared in wonder. The lead Kitharan approached them. When it spoke, its voice was like multiple musical notes played at the same time. "We greet you, humans. I am called Veltar in your speech." Jake stepped forward. "Welcome. I am Captain Jake Sullivan. This is Dr. Lisa Martinez, our specialist in alien biology." Veltar's crystal body flickered with different colors. "Dr. Martinez, we have heard of your work. We are most interested in human biology." Lisa felt a thrill of excitement. This was what she had trained for her whole life. "I'm honored to meet you. We're very interested in your people, too." As they talked, Lisa noticed something strange. The Kitharans kept a careful distance from each other. They never came closer than about 3 feet apart. Even when they seemed to agree or get excited about something, they stayed in their spots. Meanwhile, the human crew moved naturally. Jake put his hand on Lisa's back when he introduced her. Danny and Kate stood close together as they watched. Sam touched Lisa's arm when he handed her a tablet. Veltar seemed to notice this too. The colors in its crystal body shifted to what might have been curiosity. "Your species," Veltar said. "You touch each other often. This is normal behavior?" The question surprised Lisa. "Yes, of course. Humans are social. We show friendship and comfort through touch." The Kitharan's whole body flickered rapidly. "This is most interesting. We do not understand this behavior." "You don't touch each other?" Lisa asked. "Touch disrupts our harmonic frequencies," another Kitharan said. This one introduced itself as Zixhari. "Physical contact is Uncomfortable for us, Lisa looked at her crewmates. Jake raised his eyebrows. Danny whistled again. Kate moved a little closer to Danny, as if the idea of not touching made her nervous. We would like to learn more about this. Veltar continued. Perhaps we could arrange an exchange. One human could live with us for a time, and one of us could study your people. Lisa's heart jumped. This was exactly the kind of opportunity she had dreamed of. I would volunteer for that. Jake looked concerned. Lisa, we don't know what that would involve. That's why we need to find out, Lisa said. This is how science works. This is how we learn. Sam frowned. There could be health risks. We don't know how isolation from other humans might affect you. Lisa waved his concern away. I'll be fine. I'm a scientist. I can handle being alone for a while. Veltar's colors shifted again. We would ensure your safety. This exchange would help both our peoples understand each other. The negotiations continued for several hours. Lisa could barely contain her excitement. She was going to live among an alien race. She was going to be part of the most important scientific discovery in human history. As the meeting ended, Jake pulled Lisa aside. Are you sure about this? Really sure? Lisa nodded quickly. This is what I've always wanted to do. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. Jake squeezed her hand. I hope so. I really hope so. Lisa squeezed back, enjoying the warm contact. Little did she know, it would be the last human touch she would feel for a very long time. The Ketheran ship was unlike anything Lisa had ever experienced. The walls hummed with soft music and lights flowed through crystal corridors like water. She walked carefully behind Zixhari, trying not to trip as she stared at everything around her. Your vessel is incredible, Lisa said, running her fingers along a wall that felt warm and smooth. Zixhari's crystal body flickered. Please do not touch the surfaces. Your contact creates dissonance in the harmony. Lisa pulled her hand back quickly. Sorry, I didn't know. You could not know, Zixhari replied, but its tone was cooler now. This is why we must study each other. The journey to Resonance Prime took 2 days. Lisa spent most of the time in her assigned quarters, a small room with walls that sang quietly. Everything was beautiful, but she felt strange. The room was perfect temperature, perfect air, perfect lighting. But something felt wrong. She tried to call the Aurora's Edge, but the ship was too far away now. The communication delay was several hours. She sent a message to Jake and the crew, telling them she was fine, but she wouldn't get their answers for a long time. When they arrived at Resonance Prime, Lisa forgot all her worries. The planet was covered in cities that looked like they were made of giant musical instruments. Towers spiraled up into the sky. Crystal bridges connected floating platforms, and everything glowed with soft, changing colors. This is incredible, Lisa whispered, pressing her face to the window. This is our capital city, Zixhari said with what might have been pride. We have grown it over 10,000 of your years. The ship landed on a platform that sang a welcoming song. Lisa followed Zixhari out into the city, her mouth open in wonder. Kithrans moved through the streets, but they all maintained the same careful distance from each other. Their bodies rang with different musical notes, creating a complex harmony that filled the air. Zixhari led her to a tall tower. These will be your quarters. We have made them suitable for human biology. Lisa's new home was beautiful. The walls were smooth crystal that glowed with warm light. The furniture looked like it had grown from the floor. A bed, a desk, a chair, all perfectly formed. The air smelled clean and fresh. The temperature and atmosphere are controlled, Zixhari explained. Water and human food will be provided. You have access to human entertainment files and communication systems. Thank you, Lisa said. This is wonderful. Zixhari's colors shifted. I will return in 12 hours to begin our studies. Rest well. After Zixhari left, Lisa explored her new quarters. Everything was perfect, but something felt empty. She sat on the bed and realized what it was. She was completely alone. The first few days were exciting. Zixhari came each morning to study her. They asked questions about human biology, human society, human emotions. Lisa was happy to answer. This was important work. Your species performs many physical contact rituals, Zixhari observed during one session. Explain the purpose of handshaking. Lisa had to think about it. It's a greeting. It shows we're friendly. It's also a way to show respect. And embracing? Hugging? That's more personal. We hug people we care about. Family, friends, people we love. Zixhari's crystal body pulsed with different colors. And this contact, it provides what benefit? Lisa frowned. How do you explain something so basic? It feels good. It makes us feel connected, safe, loved. Most fascinating, Zixhari said. For us, any contact disrupts our natural frequency. It is most unpleasant. After a week, Lisa started to feel restless. She had video calls scheduled with the Aurora's Edge, but the delay made conversation difficult. She would ask a question, wait 4 hours, get an answer, respond, then wait 4 hours again. Ryan Chen, the communications officer, sent her messages every day. Amy Foster, the botanist, shared pictures of her plants. Danny sent her jokes. But it wasn't the same as being there. Lisa found herself replaying old memories. She remembered Jake's hand on her shoulder, Danny's quick hugs when he was excited about something, Kate's habit of touching arms when she laughed. Dr. Rodriguez always patted people on the back when he was worried about them. She started having trouble sleeping. The bed was comfortable, but she felt cold even though the room was warm. She would curl up under the covers, but it didn't help. During the second week, Zixhari noticed changes in her behavior. You seem agitated today, the Kithran observed. Your movements are irregular, Lisa rubbed her arms. She had been doing that a lot lately. I'm fine, just tired. Your sleep patterns have been disrupted. This shows in your biological readings. Lisa looked up in surprise. You're monitoring my biology? For safety, Zixhari said quickly. We must ensure human physiology remains stable in our environment. What do the readings show? Zixhari's colors shifted to what Lisa had learned meant uncertainty. Elevated stress hormones, disrupted sleep cycles, decreased cognitive function. We do not understand the cause. Lisa didn't understand either. She felt fine mostly, just tired and restless, maybe a little sad. Back on the Aurora's Edge, Dr. Rodriguez was looking at the same readings with concern. He sent a message to Lisa, but by the time she got it, another day had passed. Lisa, your biometrics are showing signs of stress. Are you experiencing any symptoms? Anxiety, depression, physical discomfort? Lisa recorded her response. I feel okay, Sam. Maybe a little lonely, but that's normal, right? I'm on an alien planet by myself. A little loneliness makes sense. But even as she said it, she knew it was more than loneliness. She felt disconnected, like she was floating away from herself. Simple tasks seemed harder. She found herself staring at nothing for long periods. Meanwhile, on the research station Haven Point, another drama was unfolding. Quinvell, the Kithran studying humans, was sending disturbing reports back to Resonance Prime. The humans engage in contact rituals constantly, Quinvell reported. They cannot seem to function normally without frequent physical interaction. Captain Sullivan touched 16 different crew members today. This behavior appears compulsive. The human crew was just being normal, but to Quinvell it looked like a strange addiction. Every handshake, every pat on the shoulder, every friendly bump looked like humans desperately seeking something they couldn't live without. By the third week, Lisa knew something was wrong with her. She felt disconnected from everything. Food had no taste. Beautiful sights didn't interest her. She found herself standing at the window for hours, staring at nothing. Zixhari came for their daily session, but Lisa barely responded to questions. Dr. Martinez, Zixhari said, your responses are becoming increasingly limited. Are you experiencing illness? Lisa looked at the Kitharan as if seeing it for the first time in days. I don't know. I feel empty. Empty? Explain this sensation. Lisa tried to find words. Like there's a hole inside me. Like I'm disappearing. Zixhari's entire body flickered rapidly. This was clearly distress. I must contact your medical officer immediately. That night, Dr. Rodriguez received an emergency transmission. Zixhari's translated message was clear. Dr. Martinez appears to be suffering from rapid psychological deterioration. Please advise. Sam stared at the message and Lisa's latest readings. Suddenly, everything made sense. He had seen this before in isolated researchers and long-distance space travelers. He knew exactly what was wrong with Lisa. She wasn't dying from an alien disease or environmental toxin. She was dying from something much simpler and much more human. She was dying from a lack of touch. He immediately sent an urgent message back to Resonance Prime, but he knew it would take hours to reach them, hours that Lisa might not have. On Resonance Prime, Lisa curled up in her perfect bed in her perfect room, feeling more alone than she had ever felt in her life. She didn't understand what was happening to her, but she knew that something essential was slipping away. Something that made her human was fading, and she didn't know how to get it back. Lisa woke up on the floor of her quarters. She didn't remember falling. The crystal walls around her seemed to pulse with strange colors, and the gentle humming sounded loud and harsh in her ears. "Dr. Martinez?" Zixhari's voice came from somewhere far away. "Dr. Martinez, please respond." Lisa tried to sit up, but the room spun around her. Her hands were shaking and she felt cold all over. "I'm here," she said, but her voice sounded weak and strange. "I am entering your quarters," Zixhari announced. The Kitharan's crystal form appeared in Lisa's vision, flickering with rapid color changes that hurt to look at. Zixhari approached carefully, staying just out of reach. "What is your condition?" Zixhari asked. Lisa tried to think, but her thoughts felt scattered like leaves in the wind. "I don't know. Everything feels wrong. I can't think straight." Zixhari's harmonic voice rose in pitch, which Lisa had learned meant alarm. "Your biological readings are extremely irregular. I am contacting your medical officer." "No," Lisa said, trying to stand. "I'm fine. I just need—" But she couldn't finish the sentence because she didn't know what she needed. She felt like she was drowning in air, like something vital was missing from her body. Zixhari ignored her protest and activated the communication system. The time delay meant Dr. Rodriguez wouldn't get the message for hours, but Zixhari marked it as an emergency. "Dr. Rodriguez, this is Zixhari. Dr. Martinez has collapsed. Her behavior is becoming increasingly erratic. Her biological functions show severe stress patterns. Please provide immediate medical guidance." Lisa crawled back to her bed and curled up under the covers. She felt like she was disappearing, becoming less real with each passing hour. The walls of her perfect room felt like they were closing in on her. Hours later, Dr. Rodriguez's response came through. Lisa was barely conscious when Zixhari played the message. "Zixhari, based on Lisa's symptoms and biometric data, I believe she's suffering from touch starvation. Humans require regular physical contact for psychological and physiological health. Prolonged isolation from touch can cause severe depression, anxiety, cognitive impairment, and in extreme cases, complete psychological breakdown." Zixhari's entire body flashed white with shock. "Explain this condition further." Rodriguez's voice continued from the recording. "Human skin contains specialized nerve endings called C-tactile afferents. When stimulated through gentle touch, these nerves send signals to the brain that release hormones like oxytocin and endorphins. These chemicals are essential for emotional regulation, stress management, and overall mental health. You are saying that physical contact is a biological requirement for humans?" Zixhari asked the recording, though of course it couldn't answer. The message continued. "Without regular touch, humans experience a cascade of negative effects. Increased cortisol levels, disrupted sleep, weakened immune system, depression, and anxiety. Lisa has been completely isolated from human contact for 3 weeks. Her body is essentially going through withdrawal." Zixhari looked at Lisa, who was shivering under her covers despite the warm room temperature. "This is a medical emergency. What treatment do you recommend?" They had to wait 4 hours for Rodriguez's response. "The only effective treatment is physical contact. Lisa needs human touch, but since that's not available, any gentle, sustained physical contact might help. Her brain needs the stimulation to produce the missing chemicals." Zixhari stared at the message display. Physical contact with a human. The idea was deeply disturbing to every instinct the Kitharan possessed. For their species, unexpected touch was like being struck by lightning. It disrupted their harmonic frequencies and caused genuine pain. But looking at Lisa, Zixhari could see she was dying. Not from disease or injury, but from the absence of something so fundamental to her species that she couldn't survive without it. On Haven Point, Navigator Tony Blake and Security Chief Rachel Murphy were preparing an emergency rescue mission. They had been monitoring the situation through Rodriguez's medical updates. "This is insane," Tony said, checking the ship's navigation systems. "Humans need touch to survive? How did we evolve like that?" Rachel was reviewing security protocols. "Makes sense when you think about it. We're social animals. Babies need contact to develop properly. Adults need it to stay sane. But 3 weeks?" Tony asked. 3 weeks and she's having a breakdown? "Some people are more sensitive than others," Rachel said. "Lisa's always been the huggy type. Remember how she always greets everyone with a hug? Tony nodded grimly. And now she's been alone with crystal aliens who think touching is torture. Meanwhile, on Resonance Prime, the Catheran Council was meeting in emergency session. Feltar's harmonic voice filled the crystal chamber with urgent frequencies. The human researcher is experiencing critical biological failure due to lack of physical contact, Feltar announced. This reveals a fundamental aspect of human physiology we did not understand. Another council member, Lixnari, responded with lower tones. How can any species require physical contact for survival? This seems impossible. Yet the evidence is clear, said Quinville, joining the meeting from Haven Point. My observations of human behavior support this theory. They engage in contact rituals constantly. Handshakes, embraces, casual touches. I thought it was cultural behavior, but now I understand it is biological necessity. What do you recommend? Feltar asked. Someone must provide the human with the contact she requires, Quinville said, or she will die. The council chamber fell silent except for the natural harmonics of their presence. Finally, Lixenari spoke. To deliberately touch another being, this goes against every instinct we possess. Yet we are scientists, Feltar replied. We must preserve Dr. Martinez's life, and this presents an unprecedented opportunity to study interspecies physiology. Back in Lisa's quarters, Zixhari made a decision that would have been impossible for most Catharans. The researcher approached Lisa's bed slowly. Dr. Martinez, Zixhari said softly, I understand your condition now. I'm going to attempt to provide the physical contact your biology requires. Lisa looked up with unfocused eyes. What? Your Dr. Rodriguez explained. You need touch to survive. I will try to help you. Lisa felt a spark of her old self return. But you said contact hurts your people. It does, Zixhari admitted. It will be very uncomfortable for me, but you are dying without it. Zixhari extended one crystalline appendage toward Lisa's arm. The first contact sent harmonic disruptions through the Kytheran's entire body. Zixhari's colors flashed in patterns Lisa had never seen before. But something amazing happened to Lisa. The moment she felt contact with another being, even one so different from herself, her brain began to respond. The terrible emptiness inside her didn't disappear, but it lessened. How do you feel? Zixhari asked, struggling to maintain the contact despite the discomfort. Better, Lisa whispered, and for the first time in days she meant it. Not good, but better. Dr. Rodriguez, monitoring Lisa's biometrics from across space, watched her stress hormones begin to normalize for the first time in weeks. A single touch from an alien being was literally saving her life. Incredible, he said to himself, watching the data stream. Even non-human contact triggers the response. Lisa's brain doesn't care that Zixhari isn't human. It just needs the physical stimulation. The implications were staggering. Humans weren't just social creatures who enjoyed touch. They were beings who required physical contact for survival, like they needed food or water or air. As Zixhari maintained the difficult contact, both species began to understand something profound about the nature of consciousness itself. For humans, connection came through touch. For Kitherans, it came through harmonic resonance. Both species had evolved different ways of maintaining the social bonds necessary for intelligent life. But for the first time, they were attempting to bridge that gap. Alien touching human in an act of compassion that defied every instinct evolution had given them. Lisa closed her eyes and felt herself becoming real again. She was still far from well, but she was no longer disappearing. The touch of a crystal being was anchoring her to existence itself. Dr. Rodriguez stared at the data streaming from Resonance Prime. Lisa's condition was improving, but slowly. The brief contact with Zixhari had pulled her back from the edge, but she was still far from healthy. How long can a Kytheran maintain physical contact? He asked during the next communication cycle. Zixhari's response came hours later, translated into human speech. Extended contact causes severe harmonic disruption. I can manage brief periods, but longer contact becomes painful. Rodriguez frowned at his medical readings. Brief contact isn't enough. Lisa needs sustained, regular touch to fully recover. Her hormone levels are still critically low. On Resonance Prime, Zixhari faced an impossible decision. The Kytheran scientist had volunteered to help Lisa, but the physical discomfort of touching her was unlike anything they had experienced. Every moment of contact felt like standing in a storm of conflicting frequencies. But Zixhari was a scientist first. and watching Lisa's biological data improve with each touch was fascinating. I will continue the experiment, Zixhari announced to the council, but I require medical monitoring. The contact affects my harmonic pattern significantly. Veltar's response was immediate. This is dangerous, Zixhari. We have no data on extended contact between our species, which is exactly why we must gather that data, Zixhari replied. Dr. Martinez is improving. Her cognitive function is returning. If we can understand this process, it benefits both our peoples. Lisa was sitting up in bed when Zixhari returned to her quarters. For the first time in weeks, her eyes were clear and focused. You look better, Zixhari observed. I feel more like myself, Lisa said. But I'm still empty. Like part of me is missing. Zixhari approached the bed carefully. Dr. Rodriguez believes you need more contact. Extended contact, but this is difficult for me. Lisa felt a wave of guilt. I'm sorry. I didn't know it hurt you. Pain is not the correct word, Zixhari said, sitting on the edge of the bed. It is more like chaos. Your biological rhythms disrupt my harmonic frequency. It is very disorienting. We don't have to do this, Lisa said quickly. I don't want to hurt you. Zixhari's crystal body flickered with colors Lisa was learning to read. This was determination mixed with curiosity. I am a scientist, Zixhari said. This is the most important research either of our species has ever conducted. We are learning how two different forms of consciousness can interact. Slowly, carefully, Zixhari reached out and placed a crystalline appendage on Lisa's arm. The contact sent visible ripples of disruption through the Kitharan's body, but they held steady. How does this feel for you? Zixhari asked, studying Lisa's reaction. Lisa closed her eyes and concentrated. Like coming back to life. I can't explain it better than that. It's like you're reminding my body how to be human. They maintained the contact for 10 minutes before Zixhari had to stop. The Kitharan's harmonic frequency was becoming dangerously unstable. This is progress, Zixhari said, stepping back. Your biological readings improved significantly during contact. Over the following days, they developed a routine. Zixhari would spend time with Lisa, gradually increasing the duration of physical contact. Sometimes they would hold hands. Sometimes Zixhari would place an appendage on Lisa's shoulder while they talked. Each session was difficult for Zixhari, but the scientist was beginning to notice something interesting. The disruption to their harmonic frequency was becoming more predictable, almost like they were learning to adapt to Lisa's biological rhythms. Your heart rate creates a regular pattern, Zixhari observed during one session. At first, this pattern interfered with my harmonics, but now I can anticipate it. Lisa was fascinated. You're learning to sync with my biology? In a sense, yes. My harmonic frequency is adjusting to accommodate your rhythms. Meanwhile, on Haven Point, engineer Alex Turner and medic Beth Collins were working with Quinvell to develop new protocols for human-Kitharan interaction. So humans literally need touch to survive, Alex said, reviewing the medical data. That's going to change everything about how our species work together. Beth nodded. We'll need contact protocols, regular touch schedules, maybe even therapy animals on long missions. Quinvell observed their easy interaction with interest. Alex casually touched Beth's shoulder when making a point. Beth patted Quinvell's crystalline arm when explaining something, then quickly apologized and pulled back. You did not need to withdraw, Quinvell said. I am learning to tolerate brief contact for research purposes. Really? Beth asked. It doesn't hurt? It is uncomfortable but manageable. Your colleague Zixhari has inspired us to endure discomfort for scientific advancement. Back on Resonance Prime, Lisa was growing stronger every day. The regular contact with Zixhari was allowing her brain to produce the chemicals it needed. Her sleep was improving, her appetite was returning, and her thinking was becoming clear again. But something unexpected was happening to Zixhari as well. The Kitharan was spending hours with Lisa each day, and they were beginning to enjoy her company beyond the scientific value. Tell me about your homeworld, Zixhari said during one of their sessions. They were sitting close together, Zixhari's appendage resting on Lisa's hand. Lisa smiled, the first genuine smile she'd had in weeks. Earth is so different from here. Everything is organic, growing and changing. Trees and grass and oceans. The sky changes color with the weather. This sounds chaotic, Zixhari said, but their harmonic tone suggested fascination rather than disapproval. It is chaotic, Lisa agreed. But it's beautiful too. The chaos creates patterns you could never predict. Zixhari's colors shifted thoughtfully, like your biological rhythms. Chaotic, but with underlying patterns. Exactly. Everything on Earth works that way, including humans. As they talked, both of them noticed that the harmonic disruption was becoming less severe. Zixhari could maintain contact for longer periods without discomfort. More importantly, they were beginning to find the contact pleasant. Dr. Rodriguez was amazed by the biometric data coming from both Lisa and Zixhari. Lisa's hormone levels are almost normal now, he reported to Captain Sullivan. But look at Zixhari's readings. Their harmonic patterns are adapting to Lisa's biological rhythms. Jake studied the charts. What does that mean? I think it means they're forming a biological bond. Zixhari's body is learning to sync with Lisa's. They're becoming compatible. The implications were staggering. Two completely different species with completely different biology were learning to connect on a physical level. Kate Williams, monitoring from the pilot station, shook her head in wonder. So humans need touch to survive, and somehow this crystal alien is learning to provide it. More than that, Rodriguez said, pointing to the data. I think Zixhari is starting to benefit from the contact too. Look at these stress indicators. They're decreasing over time. On Resonance Prime, neither Lisa nor Zixhari was aware of the larger implications of their experiment. They only knew that spending time together was becoming easier and more comfortable for both of them. I must admit something, Zixhari said during their evening session. When we first began this experiment, I endured the contact for scientific purposes. But now, Lisa prompted gently. Now I find myself looking forward to these sessions, not just for the research value, but for the experience itself. Lisa squeezed Zixhari's crystalline appendage gently. I'm glad. I was worried I was torturing you. Quite the opposite, Zixhari said, their harmonic voice softer than usual. I believe I am beginning to understand why your species values physical connection so highly. Neither of them realized that they were on the verge of a discovery that would change everything both species thought they knew about: consciousness, connection, and what it meant to truly understand another being. Lisa had been on Resonance Prime for nearly 2 months. Her health had returned, and her daily sessions with Zixhari had become the highlight of both their days. Tonight was her last night before returning to Haven Point and eventually to human space. She should have been excited to go home, but instead she felt sad. Leaving Zixhari felt like leaving behind a close friend, maybe the closest friend she had ever had. I will miss our conversations, Zixhari said as they finished their final session. The Catharan was now able to maintain contact for hours without discomfort. Me too, Lisa said, reluctant to let go of Zixhari's appendage. This has been the most amazing experience of my life. Mine as well, Zixhari agreed. I never expected to form such a connection with a being so different from myself. They said goodnight, and Zixhari moved to their usual resting spot across the room. Catharans didn't sleep like humans, but they entered a state of harmonic meditation that served the same purpose. Lisa settled into her bed, but sleep didn't come easily. Her mind was full of worries about leaving, about returning to human space, about whether she would ever see Zixhari again. When she finally fell asleep, the dreams came. She was back on Earth, but it was cold and empty. Everyone she tried to touch turned to crystal and shattered. She reached for Jake, for Danny, for Dr. Rodriguez, but they all crumbled at her touch. She was alone again, isolated, the terrible emptiness growing inside her like a black hole. In the dream, she was dying again, fading away from lack of contact. She called out for help, but no one could hear her. The emptiness was swallowing her whole. Lisa woke up with a gasp, her heart pounding and her body shaking. The nightmare had felt completely real. She could still feel the cold emptiness trying to claim her. Without thinking, moving on pure instinct, she looked around for comfort. Her sleeping mind was still partially in control, seeking the physical contact that had saved her life. Zixhari was across the room, glowing softly in harmonic meditation. Lisa's distressed brain saw rescue and safety. Still half asleep, she got up and moved toward the Catharan. Zixhari sensed her approach and began to emerge from meditation. Dr. Martinez, are you well? Bad dream, Lisa mumbled, still caught between sleep and waking. So cold, so empty. Before Zixhari could respond, Lisa had curled up next to the crystalline form, seeking comfort like a frightened child. Her body pressed against Zixhari's crystal surface and her arms wrapped around the alien being. Zixhari expected the usual harmonic disruption, the uncomfortable chaos of human contact. But something was different this time. Lisa was deeply asleep, her biological functions in a completely different state than when she was awake. Instead of disruption, Zixhari felt something incredible. Lisa's sleeping heart rate was slower and more regular. Her breathing was deep and rhythmic. Her brain waves, which Zixhari could sense through their harmonic abilities, were creating a steady, peaceful pattern. This pattern didn't disrupt Zixhari's frequency. It enhanced it. The combination of Lisa's sleeping biorhythms and Zixhari's harmonic meditation created something neither species had ever experienced. A perfect resonance that amplified the peaceful effects for both of them. Zixhari had never felt such profound calm. Their crystal body began to glow brighter, resonating with harmonics more beautiful than any they had ever produced alone. For Lisa, the nightmare faded completely. The terrible emptiness was replaced by warmth and safety. Her sleeping mind registered the presence of another being, someone who cared about her, someone who would protect her from the darkness. They remained intertwined through the night. Lisa slept more peacefully than she had since arriving on Resonance Prime. Zixhari experienced a form of meditation deeper and more restorative than anything in their species' history. When morning came, they woke up together. Lisa opened her eyes to find herself curled against Zixhari's crystal form. For a moment she was embarrassed. "I'm sorry," she said, starting to pull away. "I had a nightmare and I guess I—" "Do not move," Zixhari said quietly. "Please," Lisa stopped, confused. "Are you okay? Am I hurting you?" "Quite the opposite," Zixhari said, their harmonic voice filled with wonder. "I have never experienced anything like last night. Your sleeping biorhythms created a harmonic resonance that enhanced my meditation, beyond anything I thought possible." Lisa blinked in surprise. "Really? Our combined frequencies created something new, something beautiful. I felt more peaceful and restored than ever before in my existence." As they talked, both of them realized what this meant. When Lisa was awake and alert, her biology disrupted Kitharin harmonics. But when she was sleeping, deeply relaxed, her slower rhythms synchronized perfectly with Kitharin meditation frequencies. "We need to document this," Lisa said, her scientific mind racing. This could change everything. They spent the morning recording data, measuring harmonic frequencies, documenting the biological changes in both their bodies during close contact. The results were astounding. When Dr. Rodriguez received the data, he nearly fell out of his chair. "This is impossible," he said to Captain Sullivan. "Look at these readings. When Lisa and Zixhari are in contact during deep sleep, both their biological functions improve dramatically." Jake studied the charts. "Improve how?" "Lisa's stress hormones drop to levels lower than normal human baseline. Her immune function improves. Her brain produces elevated levels of growth hormone and repair chemicals. And look at Zixhari's readings. Their harmonic efficiency increases by 30%. "What does that mean?" "It means they're not just compatible," Rodriguez said in amazement. "They're symbiotic. Each species benefits from contact with the other under the right conditions." The discovery sent shockwaves through both human and Kitharin governments. The two species weren't just able to cooperate despite their differences. They could actually enhance each other's biology through careful interaction. Emergency meetings were called on both sides. Captain Sullivan found himself in communication with Veltar and the Kitharin Council, discussing implications that neither species had imagined. "This changes the nature of our relationship entirely," Veltar said through the translation system. "We are not merely different species trying to coexist. We are complementary species who can benefit each other. The question is, what do we do with this information?" Jake asked. The answer came from an unexpected source. Lisa and Zixhari, working together, proposed the establishment of a joint research station where both species could study this remarkable symbiosis. "We've proven that humans and Kitharans can not only work together, but actually improve each other's biological functions," Lisa said in her formal proposal. "We need to understand this better. How many other human-Kitharin pairs might be compatible? Can we develop protocols for beneficial contact?" What are the long-term implications? Zixhari added their own perspective. This discovery suggests that consciousness itself may take many forms, and that different forms can enhance each other when they interact properly. This could be the foundation for a new understanding of life in the universe. 6 months later, Harmony Station was under construction in the space between human and Kithrin territory. Lisa and Zixhari were selected to lead the first research team, a group of volunteers from both species dedicated to studying interspecies symbiosis. On the day the station opened, Lisa stood with Zixhari in the observation deck, watching ships from both civilizations dock together for the first time. "Do you ever think about how this all started?" Lisa asked, taking Zixhari's appendage in her hand. The contact was now as natural as breathing for both of them. "You mean with your breakdown from touch starvation?" Zixhari said, their harmonic voice carrying what Lisa had learned was their version of laughter. "I prefer to think of it as the moment we discovered that different doesn't mean incompatible," Lisa said. "Sometimes different means complementary." Zixhari's crystal body glowed with warm colors. "Indeed, what you humans call cuddling was initially a physiological necessity, but it became something far more important." "What's that?" "The foundation for true understanding between species. Physical contact led to emotional connection, which led to scientific discovery, which led to a new form of cooperation that benefits everyone." Lisa squeezed Zixhari's appendage gently and smiled. "And to think it all started because I said cuddling was a physiological necessity, then held on all night." Outside the observation window, human and Catharan ships worked together to build something neither species could have created alone. Just like Lisa and Zixhari themselves, they were proving that the universe was far more connected than anyone had ever imagined. The story of their discovery would become legend in both civilizations, proof that sometimes the most profound discoveries come from the simplest human needs, and that reaching out to touch another being, even one made of crystal and starlight, could change the galaxy forever.